we're going to talk about home loans and pre-approvals and all kinds of good stuff. Happy Wednesday, everybody. I am excited about today's topic because it's really the bread and butter of getting a home loan and getting a home closed. It is all about pre-approvals. And I honestly know for a fact that this is probably one of the most overlooked, brushed over, but problematic and or crucial, all those big words, piece of buying a home in America right now, okay? The pre-approval process. There's been so much talk and noise and lenders out there that are pushing that pre-approvals can get done in 5 minutes or 20 minutes or quick, fast, boom, boom, boom. But the reality is a lot of people's home loan applications and their pre-approval processes have issues and layers to them, okay? Let's say you're selling a house, or let's say you got some credit score issues, or let's say some job changes, or there's just some really creative stuff going on with your pre-approval, okay? Pre-approval should be handled very, very, very delicately, very seriously, because whenever you've heard of somebody, maybe a friend, a family, or you saw something online, or you've read a review where somebody says, I was told I was good, and then the lender a week or two later told me, nope, you're not good. Or we got to the week of closing and my loan got denied. Or we made an offer and then our lender called us back and said they can't do the home loan now. Or my numbers went up, right? This usually is the product of a lender doing a too fast pre-approval, not verifying your paperwork, not slowing down, asking you all the right questions, and getting good information back. Because when you fill out a pre-approval application, the lender's job is to look at your credit report, look at your income, find out the way you're paid, and then to also look at your debt to income, which is looking at your monthly income and dividing it by your monthly payments on your credit report, plus the new house payment you're going to try to qualify for. And then their job is to make sure that you're within line and you're shopping within your budget. But the problem is when people are moving too fast, or a lender goes, yep, you're pre-approved. I sent you your pre-approval letter. Go find a house. But then they never verified your pay stubs. They never verified your W-2s and taxes. Or they never verified, where you're going to get your money for closing. And they were moving too quick. And then they basically got you out there. You're looking at a house. You get under contract. And then the lender turns around 2 weeks later, once you've gotten the house under contract, and says, hey, send me all of your paperwork. That's not good. Because what can happen is when a lender verifies your paperwork later, that's when they can catch certain things, right? Like maybe the way you were paid has some differences to it. Like, for example, if you fill out an application and say, I make $5,000 a month, and then the lender goes, okay, cool, and takes your word for it, sends you off for the pre-approval, but doesn't verify anything yet. Lenders can send pre-approval letters after you fill out an application link without having to verify your paperwork. I know that's kind of weird, and it sounds like, how can they do that? Well, the lending mortgage world is set up to where lenders can do that, because on the pre-approval letters, if you actually read them down below, you'll see that there's like outs for the lender. Like the lender, if you read through the pre-approval letter, it still says, pending underwriting approval, pending verifying an appraisal or some of your paperwork. So the key is that you work side by side with your lender when you're doing a pre-approval to do a solid one. You fill out the link, then you set up a call with your lender. Then you send all of your paperwork, which is the basic stuff, which is 30 days of pay stubs, 2 years of W-2s and taxes, 2 months of bank statements, and then you secure a phone call with the lender where you go over each of these items, where the lender is looking at your income, updating it, typing it in, putting it in correctly, looking at bank statements, right? Making sure you're talking through each piece like, hey, here's all of my money of where it's coming from. Here's where my money's sitting at today. And then you and your lender should go through the credit report, the pay stubs, the bank statements, the W-2s and taxes together, make sure everything's in, and you're going through everything. Kind of like you're going through, your top to bottom health chart, right? When you go in to talk to a doctor, it's the same thing. And then when you're verifying all this information with your lender, you and your lender can ask all the questions. What am I good to? Will this be a problem? And then even asking your lender at the end, is there anything I should be aware of where my pre-approval might not go through once we get to underwriting? Like asking some of your questions and concerns and fears to the lender as well. And a good lender will already go over this stuff with you. But as you guys all know, there's a lot of lenders out there. There's a lot of realtors out there. There's a lot of builders out there. And a lot of it comes down to picking somebody that cares, knows their stuff, and goes over this stuff and is very, very, very diligent and knows your numbers and cares about this pre-approval process. Because when humans are running fast, they can make mistakes, right? When humans are typing in stuff on computers, they could overlook something. Humans make mistakes. But the key is with these pre-approvals, and when you're doing your pre-approval with a lender, you do slow down, you do go over everything, and you ask all the questions, because this is where a lot of mistakes can get caught. This is where a lot of issues can get handled ahead of time. This is how you get proactive to where you're confident when you're going out on the market to try to find a house and make an offer. You're not going to run into one of those issues where you get told yes, you find the house, and then you get told no. Don't want that to happen to you, right? I want you protected. I want you to have a good experience. I've been doing this a long time, and I really care about home ownership and how people get to the finish line, because it matters. It should matter, and it does matter. So, I really wanted to do this live today about just kind of explaining what I just did about how important the pre-approval process gets looked at, right? It should be a very serious thing. It should be something that is taken very, very seriously, and that you get educated, you know your numbers, and you shouldn't do a pre-approval, get the pre-approval letter, go looking at houses, but you don't know roughly what your payments might be. You don't know what your interest rate is. You don't know what closing costs mean. A good lender is going to walk you through all that, educate you, pump you up, inspire you, and get you out with a realtor to where you can start confidently looking at houses, matching up roughly what it'll cost. And then ultimately, the last thing, right, before we open up for some questions, because I know we got some questions today, what you want to do is when you're pre-approved and you're solidly pre-approved, right? Before you look at a house, make sure you send to your lender, hey, this is the house I'm going to go look at today, or maybe it's, tomorrow. What would my payment be on this exact house? So I think a lot of people forget that when a lender or when you get a home loan and when you get a payment quoted, it includes your monthly mortgage principal and interest payment, your property taxes on the house, the home insurance, and then if you're not putting 20% down and or doing conventional or VA, because VA doesn't require private mortgage insurance, that gets added too, because you got to know your full payment. Don't rely on an online calculator and doing it yourself, because you might mess something up or forget to add insurance or forget to add mortgage insurance. And all that is going to add up into your payment. And I want to see you going out to houses and know what you're going to pay before it gets too late, right? So this is an important thing too that I wanted to touch on. And then with your pre-approval, a lot of times, this is really, really important, everybody. You get your pre-approval letter. It's solid. You get with your realtor. You're about to go look at houses. If you want to make an offer on a house, let's say it's this weekend, your realtor is probably going to need an updated pre-approval letter. Okay. That's the letter that your realtor is going to need to make an offer on the house, to send it to the seller and send it to the listing realtor. Your realtor is going to probably want an updated letter with either the amount that you're offering, the purchase price, or the address of the home. Okay. But let's say you wait till Saturday when you're going to go see the houses. Let's say your lender doesn't work on the weekends, right? I work every weekend. I'm on call 24/7, but that's just something I do for my customers and part of my business practice. But not all lenders do this. They take weekends off. But let's say you're going out there, right? And it's a hot property. A lot of people are seeing it that day. And your realtor goes, hey, we need to get in touch with your lender and get an updated pre-approval letter because the one you got, it doesn't really say much on it, and we need a specific one. You reach out to your lender on Saturday and they're not available till Monday, you could lose out on the house. Because if these other clients are going out to seeing that house, okay, and they make an offer that night and it's a good offer, but you couldn't because your pre-approval letter wasn't ready, those other people might snatch that house, grab it, and now they got the house and you missed out. This is a big deal, guys. Huge deal. Most offers on houses, okay, most, in most multiple offer situations, in most houses that go under contract, when do you think they go under contract? Nights and weekends, right? Because that's when most people are out looking at homes because they're working all day and they want to go out and do what? Set up showings with their realtor when they're free. And a lot of times, if you go out and see the house in the afternoon, your realtor is going to be writing up the offer usually later, which is the evening. Your lender is going to need to be on call, ready to roll, and sending you an updated pre-approval letter. So 2 things that I'd recommend you do. 1, if you know you're going to go out and see a house that's like probably the one, reach out to your lender early, proactively. Let's say that morning or the day before, whenever you know it's going to be. Say, hey, I'm going to go see this house. I'm probably going to write an offer, or I might, I don't know, but I want to be prepared. I want to be proactive. So I'm going to ask you then to get me this updated pre-approval letter before I go see it. Send it to me. So then if I need it last minute that night or on a Saturday afternoon, you'll already have the letter. So you're not waiting on your lender to send it to you. That's a huge tip. Number 2, last one, having a lender that is available nights and weekends and on call and uses a cell phone and can update pre-approval letters to you on the fly. A lot of times I can do these from my cell phone. It's really cool using technology and software. So having that ability where you know your lender is literally in your corner and literally on call if you needed something is going to give you that confidence. It's going to give you that boost in your step, knowing that you're basically going into home showings and going into offers with the whole team, the whole army behind your back, right? Those things matter. And I think a lot of people are so caught up in shopping, trying to find the lowest rate. They're running around and they don't really know what they're doing. And they don't realize that a couple key things that getting the house under contract is about a lender being on call, communicating very well. Your pre-approval is solid and it's not going to have any hurdles during the loan process. And then lastly, if you need an updated pre-approval letter with a house that's very hot on the market, you're going to need a lender to act quickly and sometimes talk to the realtors to put confidence that your loan is going to go through. These things are huge and they don't get talked about enough. But I'm dealing with them every day, every week, every month, and I have been. So I'm very intimately involved in this process with my customers. And I take it very seriously because it's a sacred part of getting the house for the customer. So I hope this all made sense. We're going to open it up for questions. I got a few more minutes and I got to head out. So if anybody's got any questions, feel free to ask right now. Do we have any questions that you know of right now?
Yeah, I see one on YouTube. Are there costs? Does it cost them to get pre-approved?
Great question. We had a follower here on YouTube just asked me this question. Does it cost you any money to get pre-approved? No. A pre-approval application is free and it will not cost you a thing. So I recommend getting pre-approved months and months and months and months before you go look at houses. That way, if you have anything to work on ahead of time, you can get that done before you find the house that you love. So no, pre-approvals do not cost you anything. Good question.
This is here's another good one, actually.
Here's another question.
What should I do if I think they mean financial situation changes after after I've been pre-approved?
Great question. So this follower asked, hey, what happens if my financial situation changes after I got pre-approved? Could be like a week later, a month later, 2 months later, you haven't found a house yet. You got pre-approved, and then maybe you changed jobs. Maybe you changed the way you got paid. Maybe you added a job. Maybe you added debt. That's what this person means by their pre-approval, their financial information changed. Immediately get that information to your lender ASAP. Call them, send them what changed and said, hey, will this affect my pre-approval? Your pre-approval is only good with your information that was there on that day, and it stays true. If something changes, you could either better your pre-approval or lose it. So once you're pre-approved, it's not like, okay, I'm good, I'm good, no matter what happens now in life. No, that's why it's called pre. You didn't get the keys yet. Your house isn't done. The loan still has to go through underwriting. So if anything changes, this is that good communication and that good relationship that you have to have with your lender. Hope that makes sense. Good question. Any more that we got that you see?
That's all I have. You answered the other one that's on here. So
okay, perfect. Love it. Well, hey guys, if you got any other questions, right? I got a question here from Danny. Hey, Danny. Why is it so hard to get a USDA home? Quick answer. The reason why USDA rural development loans are very hard and have a lot of guidelines and they're not the easiest things to get approved for, it's because it's no money down. It's 100% financing. It's a government-backed loan, red tape. Those are 3 good reasons right there. They put you through the ringer because on a lending standpoint, it's a very risky loan. There's no skin in the game. So they are very picky on credit scores, debt to income, and a bunch of other things. However, Danny, if you've been told you can't get one or there's issues, get a second opinion. Get a second opinion. Because there's a lot of lenders out there that offer USDA loans, but they have overlays on them. So they'll tell you you can't or this or that, but maybe the place that they work for has strict rules on top of the USDA rules, and you need to find a lender that doesn't have overlays on USDA loans. I hope that answers your question, Danny. Good question, man. Another one, I got pre-approved for USDA, but it's so hard to find a house that'll work for the loan, basically. USDA, FHA, and VA are pretty strict on the condition of the home. Like if there's anything broken, cracked, missing, safety, health hazards. So if the house is in rough shape, it's going to be hard to get one of those houses through an appraisal. But a lot of times the seller and the realtors will help work it through, negotiate. Maybe you need to fix up the house during the home loan process or before closing. Like if there's some chipping and peeling paint, you fix it, get the appraiser back out there, and then you can close on it. A lot of times there's some negotiations that can happen. So I hope that helps, Danny, but DM me, call me, my cell phone. I'll drop it below here in the link. Call me if you have any more questions today. I'd love to chat with you, Danny. Okay. All right, y'all. I'm going to head out. I hope y'all have a great day. We will chat soon, everybody. Talk to you soon. Peace out.